Hi, period two. It is me again. Sorry for bothering you during your lunch period, but I just wanted to get on here and try to give you a bit more direction. And I also changed a few things on your assignment that you are going to do over the weekend, just to make things a little bit clearer, just to pull away some of the stress that I may have brought during second period. So I apologize for that. And just understand that, teachers make mistakes and, we're trying to feel out our students, especially since we really don't know everybody that well. And, I obviously want you to be successful when reading a story, and annotating any text is really important, especially if you don't understand or know the story at all. So I just wanted to make this a little bit easier for you. So here's some of the changes. If you go back on the Classwork tab, and scroll over for number 5, which I see someone already turned it in, so thank you. It is the same type of template when you click on it, except I took out a few pages that I added in the beginning. So I do not want you to do those pages. Okay, so just be aware. My annotation guided has changed because, again, I think I frustrated a lot of you by putting a lot of stuff on here, and I think you can annotate a text well if you do it in 3 steps. So instead of making you do a bunch of different step-by-steps, I think I had about 6 or 7 in the beginning, and again, I'm sorry for my over-eagerness. I've decided to break this down into 3 steps, so that you are aware of what's going on. So whenever you annotate a text that you don't know, the 3 things that you automatically should look for are words you don't know, can you summarize the text, and what is the main idea of what you just read? If you're able to do those 3 things, it's much easier for you to understand what the text is saying, okay? And when we come back together on Thursday, obviously we'll go through the answers and kind of share our thoughts on what we came up with. So step number 1 is just going to be, we'll go back to what we did in class, and you're going to highlight the words that you don't know, okay, automatically, and still look them up in the dictionary. So, for example, when we did this paragraph together in class, it was a really hard paragraph to understand, and it did have a lot of detail and information that was older, like Mr. Mazzio and I were talking about. These are English-inspired old villages, and this is, it talks about the setting. We're not used to that, and, currently we don't read a lot of things that talk about, old English villages and travelers and early American settlers. So definitely look up the vocabulary first. And like I said, you can highlight the word and then you can click the dictionary at the top with Google Read and Write. Okay, and like I also said in class today, you can put the definition at the bottom, okay, to go in your notes so that you have them, so everybody kind of has the same thing. Now, when we come back on Thursday, we can collaborate and see all the different words and definitions that we picked as a whole. Okay, so that's going to be number 1. Find the words that you don't know first. You can either skim through the text and find those words, or you can read the paragraph as is and then go back and research. Okay. The next thing we want to do is we want to highlight those key ideas that stand out to us. Okay, so anything that you think might be important to that paragraph, you should be able to highlight in yellow or gold. Okay, we can talk about what you think those lines mean to you, but in your mind, these are the things that are most important. So like I said, for the first paragraph, we talked about the characteristics of the Catskill Mountains. That is the most important thing in that paragraph. And it talks about, what it looks like, how it surrounds itself in the landscape. Okay, so when you continue reading, you are going to try to figure out what are the main points of that paragraph that stand out to me. And like I said, we can collaborate on Thursday on what you think they are. The last thing I want you to do, step number 3, is I want you to summarize what you just read. okay? And try to make a connection if you can. I'm really pushing for the summary because these paragraphs are longer, but in just 2 to 3 sentences, can you put this paragraph in your own words? So the example, again, going back to that first slide, we did that together as a class. It's talking about the setting of the Catskill Mountains. Okay, it describes its surroundings and how it's, kind of the leader of the area because it's at the top point, and that's, we're getting into how these Catskill Mountains are not only a thing of beauty for the setting, but it's going to be an important concept, or else the narrator wouldn't have put that in the beginning of the story. Okay? Again, when you go through the second paragraph like we did as a class, you should be able to pick out those 3 steps instead of doing what we did before. And then I gave you a much easier version to read, okay, to see if you can break down these paragraphs on your own. So I only ask that you do slides 5 and 6 for the weekend. There's 3 paragraphs, paragraphs 3, 4, and 5. And like I said, it's not the original version. It's called the abridged version, and this version should help you quickly understand what the story is about to see if you can apply those 3 steps to your reading. Okay? Again, if you want to take a look at the additional sources, one of my favorites is the Chatterbox Theater. If you click that link, it'll take you to a recording of the play, as in the rendition of the story. So listen for it. Okay, so you guys can listen to the rest if you would like. I might use this in class come next week because I really think it's fun and much more amusing than kind of reading out loud together as a class. If you have any questions, my office hours are in a few minutes, about 10 to 15 minutes, and I go until about 2:15. But I hope this was a better understanding than our original class. And sometimes I kind of get overeager and want to give you a lot of stuff, but in the end, it's what you take away that's more important than trying to jamble everything, on your lap and make you do a bunch of stuff. So we're definitely in this together, and I thank you for your cooperation. I thank you for those that spoke out, and I hope you find this useful. See you later. Have a great weekend.